Hello and welcome to the latest video and podcast from Fantasy Football Scout as we look ahead to Fantasy Premier League Game Week 23, is it? Hopefully Game Week 22 preparation has been going for so long. My name is Joe and today I'm joined by Greyhead to see how the pundits and elite managers in the great and the good league that Fantasy Football Scout focuses on are getting on. We'll also try and second guess their next moves. Welcome, Greyhead. How are you?
Very well indeed. So thank you for letting me join you today. Very quick turnaround, you say. So only a day or so to make our decisions for 23.
I know I've been scheduling up some videos and live streams for Game Week 24 already.
Wow,
So I'm a bit confused. So I'm at that stage that you get when you create content where I'm just really confused. I've been preparing Game Week 22 videos for about a month, and then there's like 3 days of 23. And then we're on to Game Week 24 from Sunday onwards anyway. So it's just, it's tricky stuff. Before we go on, I just want to say, remind people to like and subscribe. Do press that like button, do subscribe so you can keep up to date with our latest videos and podcasts. Also, have a look at fantasyfootballscout.co.uk. There is a free membership offer going on, a 7-day free trial. It's already underway, but you can still tuck into that and you can get all the data and points projections, expert team reveals, all that kind of good stuff to prepare for Game 23, and also have a look, as the matches are going on, and afterwards to see, who has scored, whether their underlying stats are good. Obviously, you know who scored, but whether their underlying stats show that they're performing well and are not just getting lucky. Okay, I think the first one we need to address really is this latest Great and the Good. It's controversial. There's been controversy this week, so-called Walkergate. And so I'll briefly explain for those that don't know. Some content creators in a WhatsApp group got some leak that Walker wouldn't start for Man City. Some acted on it, some ignored it, some thought, I'm not interested in that. But those that acted on it, and then there was controversy that they didn't tell their followers. And then some of those followers got irate and abusive. And then now what's happened is that one of those involved, which is Mark, who's in our Great and the Good lead, has had enough. And he's taking a break from FPL community on Twitter and making content. I mean, this is what he posted last night. He said, I'm taking a break from this platform on X and from making FPL content. A mistake I made in a few hurried minutes when he got this information while at work. And the reaction to it from some has left me feeling completely at odds with myself and disenchanted with FPL. I mean, he does go on. I do urge people to have a look at that on X. But yeah, it's a bit of a mess this week, isn't it? Really?
Yeah, it's funny actually. It's almost like events off the FPL pitch of being more controversial than those on the in fantasy land, as it were. But no, I mean, I think my overriding perspective is just very, very kind of sad that that Mark has felt the need to walk away. I absolutely get why people were upset, because obviously we are all very passionate and engaged community, etc. And I think Mark himself admitted that his first comment was kind of poorly judged, but then did follow up. But I think what's really kind of like but Mark has given obviously so much to the community. He's been obviously part of my great and good league for quite a while, and it's just a really shame that kind of the level of stick he's been given, because I think none of what have happened has really justifies that piece as well. So
I mean there's two things sort of I think about. I mean, one is, it just shows the level of expectation there is in FPL now amongst engaged managers who use social media. Their level of expectation they're putting on these content creators and the sort of managers there are in this list that you've compiled, and it shows how they've had to. I mean, it's absolutely crazy. They've almost had to put sort of crisis communications PR management in place to respond to concerns. And it's a bit over the top, really. A lot of the comments, and I mean, luckily, as people know, I do mute and block anyone who's abusive on Twitter pretty quickly. So I probably haven't actually seen a lot of the abuse he's been getting, because I suspect some of those people are possibly people I might have already muted or blocked. And in which case, I mean, I haven't seen that, but a lot of it. But yeah, I mean, it's absolutely awful that that's happened, and that, you know, a very well respected member of the community in the Grey and the Good League is taking a bit of a break from sort of talking about his team.
Yeah.
So, you know, that's what people have done. And the other thing is, it just, for me, it just shows how annoying leaks are. I mean, it's the leakers that I have a issue with. I mean, they're really impacting the game, and they always seem to. I mean, I'm quite in a lucky position. I don't get any leaks, so I'm never in that quandary because no one ever leaks to me. But, you know, they're giving them to these people like with 4 minutes to go, and what are they, you know, supposed to do? You know, do they react on it? Do they make it public? Do they keep it quiet? Do they just ignore it? Who is, and you know, I think I'd probably initially just question who it was that's doing the leaking. But anyway, it just shows the difficult position it's putting these leakers in.
Yeah.
They're giving it to these content creators, and they're just giving them a headache.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think
news.
that was always one of my first. I think I tweeted out pretty much afterwards saying that I'm pleased to announce that I'm not in the know and I don't have the leak. It's almost like a relief that I don't have any of this information at my fingertips. But it does put them in a difficult situation, and it's I mean, I appreciate the degree of irony because we're going to start talking about looking at some of these people's teams, but I do feel a bit for the content creators themselves, because obviously I don't know, but if you've noticed, but certainly as we get into this season, the phrase "team dependent" has been used so much because there's almost a fear that people will kind of latch on to every move and every word that they actually do and follow suit. So again, I think absolutely this is, as we're about to talk about, they can kind of give us ideas and ways of looking at it, but ultimately it is down to us to work out and filter through and decide what we want to do. But anyway, like I say, it's a very sorry incident. I fully appreciate why people get upset, especially when some of the money is involved. But just a kind of a sad end, and I just hope kind of Mark is able to take time away, just do something more positive, to be honest, and then when he comes back, great.
I'm sure he will be back. I'm sure once he sees the outpouring of positivity that has been there for him today in the community, but I'm sure he will be. It's just an awful predicament to be in, and I just think people need to be a bit kinder and respect each other's mental health and thing. And I think if I was in that situation, I probably would have had a sleepless night, penning responses to people being annoyed, and it's not what you want, really. And as you said, you've compiled this list to sort of learn from some of these managers, and these are managers who are pundits, or they've got a spectacular track record in the game, always seem to finish in the top 10k, 1k, and those types of things. And you got Andy from the Scoutcast as well.
Yeah. I do apologise for that. So,
a well-respected pundit, obviously. So I'll put the table up of these names, and we've got a bit of information about them, and then myself and Greyhead are going to try and see if we can second guess their template. The template has changed amongst these managers. How will it change in the future? So we're for Gameweek 23. So we'll have a look at that as well. So here is the table. So the interesting things are less interested in who's at the top, or even indeed who's at the bottom. It's more the sort of big changes. Who are the trend players? And I'm looking at this here, and it says to me that way down in sort of there's 18 managers here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So sort of like 6th or 7th from bottom. Tom Freeman, who I appear on the Goals Imminent video with, and John Ballantyne as well. They seem to be doing very well this week, and I know Tom has really shot up the rankings. He was well outside the top million. Now Tom is now 163,000 in the world, but he's gone up 126,000 places this week. Absolutely huge. John Ballantyne, he went up 141,000 places, and it looks to me that it's the captaincy. I was looking at this Great and the Good League, and for those listening on the podcast version, there is a multitude of captaincy. Usually you look at this and it's like Haaland, Salah. And this one, you got Alvarez, Richarlison, Foden, De Bruyne, Saka. You've got a variety of names in there, and it's no surprise that Tom and John Tom got Alvarez in 26 points, Saka 20 points for John. So is that the feeling you're getting here? You're starting to see some sort of on trend players.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think first things first, it's still really close. That's the first thing to look at. So, I mean, I think from second to 10th, I mean, there's only 20 points, which
Yeah.
is a Kevin De Bruyne brace away from
Yeah,
setting up the rankings. So,
yeah.
it's all really close. But I mean, I think to your point, yeah, I mean, I think also in terms of what has generated the shifts and the trends, yeah, the captaincy's opened up because of Haaland's poorly foot and
Yeah.
Mo off and now injured as well, and I think that's brought great opportunity. So Alvarez has
Yeah.
been the key one for this week, but also it's been some of the moves and transfers that have been made. I think some of these managers are kind of spotted. We talked about Tom Freeman's, fun with a fourth midfielder.
Yeah.
He picked
Last
Jota,
week,
and so
yeah.
Jota,
Yeah.
both of those weeks, obviously straight away, he's added and helped
Well,
Tom
yeah.
move up the ranks. So
Yeah.
fantastic.
Yeah, definitely. So, I mean, I'm slipping down, but hopefully I'm going to be resurgent now that I've kept Haaland all this
You've
time.
got
So
Haaland. You've
now's
got Haaland.
and I've
Yeah,
got De Bruyne, so I've got my
yeah,
Man City complement together, so I can move on to
absolutely,
other things, Liverpool,
absolutely.
perhaps Luton,
Yes, yes.
and so on. But nevertheless, the difference there. So there was quite a big difference, maybe 50 points or so between me and Tom a little while ago. But now Tom is absolutely rocketing up there. He's on 1,307 points. I'm on 1,321.
Yeah,
A bit further up the table, some FPL Harry as well is shooting up the table. I've noticed he seems to be on quite a good run of green arrows.
yes.
Seb and Andy on the Scoutcast sort of dip around. Sometimes I'm above them, sometimes they're below me, but they're in this sort of chasing pack where you've got from Jan Kepski, who's on 1,341 points, down to I guess me at 1,321
Yep.
points. It's just 20 points. There's a 20 point gap between 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 of us, and then Tom, John Ballantyne, and Fabio Borges, who is, would you say, he's the best manager over time?
I would do. Yeah, I think over time he is. I think Finn Solly is another really good manager, and John Ballantyne. I think they were effectively the top
Yeah.
three in the Scout Hall of Fame. So they're all really really good
Yeah.
managers. But yeah, and I think the interesting thing on Fabio is he had a really poor week last week,
Yeah.
but it kind of shows. I know lesson learned is that you have bad weeks and it's the kind of the trend, the consistency over time to be able to kind of make sure that your moves are actually having long-term impact.
Yeah, so he didn't take a hit. Got 70 points this week, Fabio.
Exactly.
Down at the bottom, Ali, who won it last year, and Az, they're at the bottom. There, and both of them had a poor week in terms of red arrows. So I got a 1,000. No, I got a 16,000 red arrow. But it was a bit more pronounced for Ali and Az, slipping sort of 250,000 places, and so they're well outside the top million at the moment. Well, Az is anyway, but Ali took a hit there, so he's reacted, but he is coming off of a very strong game week. I seem to remember last week.
Yeah.
So
He's definitely someone. He's been great to follow, by the way, because he definitely fluctuates more.
Yeah.
He's definitely more aggressive in his moves, and to be honest, that's why he's won.
Yeah.
That's why he's won FPL, because I think I include myself in this. We're slightly more conservative.
Yeah.
We're never going to be willing to take out Jesus as he did this week and bring in kind of like Pedro or something like that. It's his mindset, and I think he's made ground. He's a bit more kind of like a spiky graph, but he has definitely kind of made progress and will continue to do so.
We'll look at the transfers and the changing template in a sec, but I just want to mention another point. The different types of managers here. The manager I'm most similar to is Zofa from FPL Wire, and it indeed points out here there's just 7 points between us this week. We're now 8 points between us. I believe we did the same moves. We both got De Bruyne in, and people were surprised he did that, and people were surprised I did that as well, because there was still a slight lack of certainty around his starts. But I made note to Zofa, like even when we end up surprising people with exactly the same.
Yeah.
But having said that, he is ahead of me now.
Yeah.
Not quite the same. He's a little bit better than me.
Yeah, but I think that's good now because there's getting a bit more variation in the
Yeah.
teams and the captaincy choices you said.
Yeah.
Because I think at one point,
Yeah.
I think Mark and Zoffer almost had the same team at one
Yeah.
point. They just had two, so I think I think there is a,
Yeah.
and that's the good thing about this league is I think there are players there who do play a certain way. Like you say, you've got FPL Guns, you've got Zofar, very different. Harry's much more kind of template. Seb is much more analytical
Yeah.
and again approached it very differently. Obviously, you went non-Haaland a while ago. So all things, it just you can pick and
Yeah.
choose that what you want to take from that really.
Okay. Let's have a look and see what transfers they made going Game Week 22 as well. A few got Eze in. Jan, Ben, Harry. I know Harry was quite keen for me to put Eze on the thumbnail for his video this week on burning questions. I wonder why you want to talk about that. So quite a few with Eze there. So Jan also got Walker in. Obviously, so did Mark, controversially. Quite a few, so a couple of Walkers there. It's the De Bruyne ones I think are most interesting. So myself, Zofar, Marco, Ali, I think that's it, and Tom all got De Bruyne in.
Yeah.
And four of us captains De Bruyne, so we got. I was okay. I mean, I've had a few captaincy blanks recently, so I'll take a 7-point return and run. I think it was 7 points, but yeah, that just shows the investment here was clearly Man City. I think 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 of those of these managers all got a City player in because they were at home to Burnley, and they've got double coming up and good fixtures. The FPL General took no transfers, nor did Finn as well. But yeah, I suspect these transfers probably didn't surprise you too much.
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think, like I say, De Bruyne was obviously always going to be the most popular one in. I think what's interesting is, like you say, the people who rolled the transfer. So, kind of Finn, General, and John Ballantyne, very good managers, and so they took the call. I'd rather have a week's more information and then decide probably where they're going to go from a City point of view as well. The Eze move was great. I mean, I think again, look at the people who made it. Harry, Fabio, just come in, very very kind of good move. So I think huge credit to them. And then and Praz, he's gone for Jota as well, so he's jumping on the Tom Freeman bandwagon as well. So so I mean, I think all moves you kind of predicted. I mean, obviously. FPL Guns one, I didn't expect anyone to go for Pedro, but obviously he saw what he did and thought he might be all right. But so I think much as expected.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's more as a sort of enabler, free up funds, to keep
possibly.
money. So probably for Haaland. Now, as people know on videos, I've kept Haaland all this time. I don't know if anyone else in this league has. So I'm literally the only one with Haaland.
I've been impressed by your patience, Joe, and your ability to hold
my
firm
ability
on that
to
one.
do absolutely nothing.
Sometimes the best course of action is inaction, Joe.
If I'd have known his foot was broken, I obviously would have got another player.
Yeah, of course.
But I was on a promise each week. Come on, Haaland. But I mean, so I've got rid of Salah now because I know he's out for 2 weeks. So he could be back in 24, 25, but I know he's out then. As we're recording this, we don't yet know of the double in game week 25 that will join City and Brentford there. So it could be Liverpool-Luton. It could be Luton-Bournemouth, I even heard. Or it could be neither of them. But all of the people that predict fixtures seem to believe that it needs to be Luton-Liverpool because Liverpool are involved in so many competitions that it's just not going to happen. So we'll move on to the template now. We'll see how it's changed. But so my immediate prediction with the template, which is not going to be surprise anyone, is Haaland is going to be an absolute priority for people. Plus, whenever the double is announced, if it's Liverpool, people are going to keep that in mind. But it's not going to be urgent because they might already have some Liverpool, but it's game week 24 when they're at home to Burnley is when the Liverpool action's going to happen.
Yeah, agree.
But we might get a few. Myself and Mark have Alfie Doughty, so we might start seeing him join the template. But anyway, this is the changing template ahead of game week 23 as we know it. So it's going to change when transfers are made. I'll read this out and then you give your views about it. So Areola, Dubravka. Areola is owned by 14 managers. Dubravka 13. Gabriel owned by 15 out of 18 managers. Porro same. Alexander-Arnold 11 out of 18 managers. Stupenham 9. Taylor, Burnley as the enabler, just 6 have still got him. Foden 17, pretty much everyone has got him. Palmer 17, Saka 16. And then you got De Bruyne just with 6 so far. Richarlison with 6. Watkins with 18. He's in every team. Solanke in 14 teams. Alvarez in 11. So there is a strong template there. But De Bruyne, I think, is going to go up.
Yep.
Haaland's a tricky one, isn't it? Because all of those strikers, Alvarez, are good. So, yeah, how do you see this template changing?
Well, I mean, Haaland will come in. It just depends when. Yeah. So I think this is what the question is in terms of trying to interpret whether or not he's going to get. I don't think he's going to get the full 90 in game week 2023. So it will be cool whether or not they decide to hold on and leave Alvarez in there, or then kind of look to move him out in due course. I mean, the fact that Alvarez did kind of brace just this week, that I think will push the more cautious managers, put it that way, to kind of hold off and just wait and see, and then look to prioritise Haaland. So I think Haaland will come in, but it may not be next week. It may be the week after. Okay. And I think then also, as you rightly said, when we find out whether or not Liverpool double is going to get in there, then we'll start seeing people plan as we go to 24 and 25 what Liverpool players they are going to bring in. I mean, I must admit, I did think Darwin might be one, but obviously he's obviously got the injury that now he's doubtful for this weekend. But I did think Darwin might be the one that kind of comes in for a slanky type, because I think his fixtures around 25, 26 aren't so great. So those are the ones I do see.
Yeah, definitely there. I mean, Taylor is still an injury doubt. Burnley, just the enabler there. I did mention Alfie Doughty. My prediction is Luton will get a double at some point. They'll have the Liverpool game to rearrange, and they'll have the Bournemouth. They've got the Bournemouth game still to arrange. So I think Taylor will be pepped up a bit.
Yes.
To Alfie Doughty.
Yeah.
I also think there's a possibility that we might see some move to maybe another Luton player, Barkley, for example, Adebayo. I think because an enabler might be needed in order to get Haaland in. It's possible there, but I do think we're going to start to see Alvarez go down and Haaland go up, and that's as you said. I don't think it's going to happen over a couple of weeks. My immediate thought for my team, and I'm talking on the goals imminent table, is to hold this week, and I feel whilst Haaland is going to go up and the likes of Taylor are going to go down, De Bruyne is going to go up, I think a big percentage of this group will hold their transfer because they want to make that move in 24 and 25 really to get advantage of the double, and that's certainly my intention. But I already have Haaland. But can you see that as well? Can you see it being essentially a bit boring in that no transfers? I'm
a bit worried. It's going to be a bit of a dull update next week. But no, I think you're right, and I think also game week 24. I think we should start to get more information about the blank for game week 29. So. Information is kind of key in that situation. I do really agree. I do actually agree on your point around the Luton players. I think Doty. I mean, again, it made me look at the prices, because when you got him, I think you and Mark were the first ones to get him in. I looked at his price of 4.5. I thought, crikey, why did I not notice that before? Do you know what I mean? As in, because all the in terms of all the set piece work, and I think you're also on the right there in terms of Adebayo. I think he could be an outside bet to come in, because again, he's 4.8. I think it is. So
just scored a hat trick.
He's bang on form. I mean, it'd be great for you then to allow you to then put more funds in midfield. So, I think those are the ones that I would could be outside bets to kind of come in as well.
And Luton, I mean, look consistently good at home in particular. I'm just looking at their fixtures. So in game week 25, They've definitely got Manchester United at home, who've just
Yep.
shipped 3 goals to Wolves, and they'll have possibly Liverpool or Bournemouth. So it remains to be seen. Or they possibly have neither of those, and it'll just be Manchester United. But nevertheless, they'd obviously blank in game week 26. So you would have to bench any Luton assets. But yeah, I can definitely see with no other Luton assets in teams, I can see a player coming in, and Alfred Doughty would seem the logical one because there's a
Yeah.
space there. Because when I was pointing at the screen, there's people could see me pointing at the screen, but Taylor just looks
Yeah.
ready made to move on to an actual player.
Yeah, I mean, and again, the prices they're at, they're easy to bench, aren't they?
Yeah,
So, and it just helps
yeah,
back to, I know one of your favorite things in terms of price points and structure of
yeah,
your team.
exactly.
That's something you need to think about as
Yeah,
well. So, yeah, no, I think they could become
yeah.
on vogue as we go forward.
Definitely. Okay. I've got some extra stats that you've supplied, and this got the list of those in this table. This sort of elite managers and pundits who are here, and this shows a few things. It shows how many transfers they made, but also the hits really. So it's the number of hits that have been made. I'm down there with -4. 2 managers, including Jan, have made no hits at all this season. So I took my first one a couple of weeks ago to get a Stupinan in because I had a Lamptey who wasn't playing,
Yeah,
and so I was quite pleased with that. But you can see here, I mean, some other ones, and it's Ali who won it last year, and Az are the kings of the hits. 28
yeah,
-28 they've taken
yeah,
there. 7
yeah.
hits. This is quite a lot. And that would explain why they're so low down, but also explain how they're trying to get out of it.
Yes,
And
yes, yes.
in
Yeah.
seasons when I've had been sort of down where they are in the rankings, and hopefully I don't end up there this season, but you never know. Taking hits didn't help.
Mm.
They're quite
Yeah,
moreish to do
yeah,
each week
yeah,
because you think you
yeah.
get, but it just chips away and erodes. And the week I got a Stupinan in, I think I was probably about 4 points off a green arrow that week. I got a small
Mm.
red
Yeah,
instead.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, I found that quite interesting. That
Yeah.
even with these managers here, that it would indicate a slight panic is setting in with Ali and
Yeah,
Az.
yeah. No, I think so. I mean, I think with Ali, I think he's going to do that anyway. So there was no
Yeah,
way he was going to take it approach. But I think with Az, yeah, I mean, obviously he's kind of looked at different ways that he can try and reclaim ground. But I mean, the interesting thing was, I mean, some of them have taken no hits at all. So Jan Keps, he's a brilliant manager. I mean, I think
yeah,
he's been in the top 1,000 in the
yeah,
last 3 out of the last 4. So
yeah.
excellent. Yeah, just hasn't taken a hit.
No,
Just hasn't. And I must admit, from most personal experience, I've took my first hit this week basically because I didn't have any
yeah,
defenders effectively.
yeah,
But I think that almost like cautious approach has
yeah,
paid off
yeah.
this year more than anything else. I mean, in other seasons, different approaches needed, but it's just good to kind of just check in and see what others are doing because that actually informs the strategies that you should be taking going forward as well. But
Definitely.
yeah.
The captaincy points I found interesting. So I'm there with 320 points, which is it's not the best, but it's not the worst. It's below like Jan with 340
Mhm.
captaincy points. Fabio with 344. So they're in a sort of league of their own, and then I'm down there with a tall chasing pack, including Ali, with around 320 points or so, and
Yeah.
then it goes down to as at 266. So there's quite a wide variation there. So there's a for most of us though is the gap is sort of 20, 30, 40 points, but it just shows what can be done with the captaincy and getting it right. And
Yeah.
I haven't had success recently, but I have across the season, obviously.
Mm.
So I
Yeah.
feel quite comfortable with the captaincy.
Yeah, but it's got interesting to be honest. If we looked at this particular kind of points, I think it must have been about a month ago. It was very dull. It
Yeah,
was all very kind of Haaland
Haaland,
and
Salah,
Salah.
Haaland, Salah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean and Fabio. I mean he's captained. I think out of 19 weeks it's been Salah or Haaland.
yeah.
It's been that basically
Okay.
what he's
Yeah.
done. So and I think even general, I think he made a kind of a decision this season just to go for Haaland
Yeah.
for as long as he could,
Yeah.
whenever he could, and again, it's paid off. But now is quite an interesting time. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but going into this game week, I mean, the captaincy is just wide open. I mean, I'd imagine
Yeah.
you're going to tell me you're going to have a De Bruyne, but
Yeah.
but I think it's wide open in terms of what
Yeah.
else you can look at if you've not got him.
So there's currently 6 De Bruyne owners there. De Bruyne
Yep.
is away to Brentford.
Yep.
He's
Yep.
got his start now. Look, there'll be significant minutes. Pep Guardiola knows what Brentford are capable of. They beat them at the Etihad last
Yep.
season. So he's going to have his strongest team in it, and that's going to be De Bruyne. I don't know whether currently that's Haaland, because Haaland's just come back from injury. So my decision is between captaining Haaland and De Bruyne. Those others that get Haaland in and perhaps own De Bruyne as well will also be faced with that decision. But I think I might go safe with De Bruyne, as you alluded to.
I think that the safer managers probably will go De Bruyne if they've got them. So again, I think those core 6 will definitely go there. I think then the more maverick ones will probably take advantage of saying, I know we've talked about limited minutes for Haaland, but they will go, I'm going to bring him in. I'm going to captain him because this is a big chance for me to gain some ground. So I can see many of them kind of going for that option and going early on Haaland, as we said. But I mean Solanke, Watkins, I mean they're all not bad options. So it's so wide open.
I think so. Yeah. So once again, as you said, I'm expecting the captaincy to be about 6 KDB captainers.
Yep.
1 or 2 Haaland captainers. And then the rest going to be made up of those players like Solanke. I don't know how many have Anthony Gordon, but Gordon could possibly be a striker for Newcastle in the absence of Wilson and Isak.
Yes, that's true.
And he's at home to Luton.
Yeah.
So whilst Luton did well at home against Brighton last week, they're away this time. So I do think we might see a couple of Gordon shouts going on there.
I think there's about 4 or 5 have got him, so that could be a good one that they might go for. But this is what makes it I think this game would be interesting. I think again the league table looked very different. Going back to what I said at the start, there's only 20 points between some really good managers. Haaland comes on, goes ballistic, boom.
Yeah,
that'll change it completely.
I mean, I hope so, because this is last week his ownership around me. I mean, his overall ownership is about 50,000.
Yep.
No, sorry. His overall ownership is about 50%. Sorry, 56%, I think. Around me, I think it was about 30, 25, 30.
Yeah.
So, you're getting, 7/10 of his points.
Yeah.
So for me, I was really hoping I would get, because this is rare that you can say that, because usually with Haaland, if you don't captain him, you're stuffed. It's like having a player against you. But so some might take advantage of this week. And I look at the sort of player who would make that upside move would be a player who's not in your list, which is Late Riser. And I think he has been in your list. I think he might have dropped out through...
Yes, he decided I think it was I think he had a poor season the time he was in, so he decided against it. But no, absolutely right. He's the one that would do the famous upside chasing and kind of go for it, because I think that will be like I say, he could make a difference. But then De Bruyne, I think again, he's not massively owned, is he? So that could be huge for you as well. So
I'd look at someone like, say, Seb, for example, because he is very sort of looks at the analytics of it. Haaland is the favourite for getting the most points in most of the analytics tables I've seen.
Yep.
And so he might look at that and think, right, this is my chance. I can get the effective ownership will be really low for Haaland. If you get him in and captain him, that could be a moment. So I think we might see. That's why I think we're going to see 1 or 2 Haaland captainers.
No, like I said, I think it'll be a good spread across the others ones as well. So plenty of choices. So it'll be interesting to see.
Okay, well, thanks so much for joining me. It was good. I did this solo last week, and it went down. It seemed to go down well. People like to see what these managers are doing, and which is why your article is read so much each week. So it's good to have you here to have a look at that. Hopefully we'll be back next week. If not, we'll keep this going. Keep track of these managers and finding out where they're doing and try and predict their moves as well. It's quite fun to do. And also helps us really, because a lot of these managers do well every year. I don't do well every year. I do well some years, but but a lot of these managers here, they do well every year. And I think, how do they get in the top 10,000 every year, top 5,000 every year? And it's anyway, so it's worth following them. Some of them,
Yeah.
not me.
Yeah,
some
so
of them.
very modest, Joe, I think. But yeah, no, I think absolutely. So I think, and hopefully people find them. I try and make them slightly more. I try and make it entertaining as well, because along the way. But yeah, lots of really good mention there. But thank you for having me along.
No, pleasure. So do have a look for much more detail about this. Do have a look at Greyhead's article. It's on pages of Fantasy Football Scout. That should be. I don't know if it's out now or out shortly. But
I think it'll be out later on today.
Today. Yeah. Do have a look at that. Have a look at the other articles as well. Do press that like button and do remember to subscribe. Keep updated with our videos and podcasts. And do have a look at latest offers. We got a fantasyfootballscout.co.uk for the members area. 7-day free trial going on as we speak. Thanks for your time. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. See you soon.
Thank you.